1. Robin King, aged 43, admitted blackmail. Blackmailer Robin King left a married dad feeling suicidal after threatening to expose his online chats with gay men. The 43-year-old, who has a long history of deception, claimed to have a recording of his victim talking to underage children. He said he would tell the police and put the man's details on a paedophile hunter website. Despite the claims being untrue, the terrified victim, referred to as Mr. A in court, agreed to pay £500 to stop his wife finding out about him chatting with other men on an adult website. But 2 months later, King sent another demand for £500 to further guarantee his silence. King was jailed for 2 years and 3 months at Stoke-on-Trent Crown Court. 2. Joshua Wood used his work computer to download hundreds of indecent images of children. A Bet365 worker downloaded hundreds of sickening child abuse images while working from home during lockdown. Pedophile Joshua Wood was given a computer to work from home at the start of the pandemic. But his line manager soon realized the 29-year-old was not being very productive and suspected he was spending his time gambling. When the computer was returned to Bet365, it had been wiped clean. But software was used to retrieve 453 indecent images of children, including 313 at Category A, the most serious. There were also 2 videos, including one of Wood performing a sex act on himself while telling a girl who looked 14 to do things. Wood, of Lakewood Drive, Barlaston, was jailed for 3 years and 3 months after pleading guilty to 3 offences of making indecent images of children, inciting a child to engage in sexual activity, and causing a child to watch a sexual act. 3. Jamie Lyons, aged 31, of Leek, was jailed after he admitted a string of sexual offences. Pervert Jamie Lyons was jailed after he was caught having disgusting sex chats with schoolgirls. The 31-year-old downloaded child abuse images and then began contacting girls online. But at least 2 of the 3 girls he communicated with were in fact police officers. They told him they were aged 13, but he told them he wanted to have sex with them. Lyons asked a girl to send him naughty pictures or videos and photos of herself wearing less clothes, showed her a photo of his private parts, sent her photos of a woman's private parts and told her he wanted to perform a sex act on her, and sent her a video of himself performing a sex act on himself. Lyons was jailed for 3.5 years at Stoke-on-Trent Crown Court. 4. Child rapist Stuart Cooper was jailed for 19 years at Stoke-on-Trent Crown Court, while Stuart Cooper raped a little girl and showed her videos of child abuse. A court heard that social services initially investigated after the girl, who was under 10 years old, told her teachers. But social workers took no action, and Cooper, who had already served jail time for child sex offences, was able to strike again. Cooper, 57, was arrested in 2019 when one of the victim's friends told a teacher. In a victim statement, the girl said the abuse made her scared and feel different to other children. She added it was a relief that her teachers believed her. Cooper was jailed for 19 years at Stoke-on-Trent Crown Court. 5. Thomas Conway had a kilo of high-purity cocaine in his boot. Police uncovered a kilo of high-purity cocaine with a street value of up to £142,000 after pulling over a car. Officers stopped Thomas Conway as he drove down Brookhouse Road in Sandbach. The 41-year-old immediately confessed there were drugs in the boot. Tests later revealed the cocaine was worth between £16,000 and £42,000, with a street value of between £42,870 and £142,900. A further search of his vehicle recovered drug paraphernalia, including a set of scales and a notebook containing sums referencing the price of high-purity cocaine. Conway, of St. Anne's Court, Nantwich, was arrested at the scene, and while in custody he admitted to knowing the cocaine was in his boot and that it belonged to him. He went on to plead guilty to possession of a Class A drug with intent to supply cocaine. The defendant will serve 5 years behind bars. 6. Kieran Roberts has been jailed. A monkey dust user who lived in a shed as a child and had to steal to feed himself is back behind bars after committing his 139th offense. Prolific offender Kieran Roberts, of Longton, has been well known to the justice system after first getting in trouble as a teenager. The Crown Court heard he had a very difficult upbringing in Mayor, with no proper roof over his head. What started as petty theft then progressed to burglary. Roberts broke into student accommodation in Spark Street, Stoke, by climbing through a window at 5:45 a.m. to steal a 40-inch TV and other items. He was captured on CCTV, but was not identified. However, he left his DNA and was arrested 2 weeks later. He was jailed for 2 years and 5 months after committing his 139th offense. 7. Rhys Wigglesworth sexually assaulted a 79-year-old woman. Out-of-control teenager Rhys Wigglesworth sexually assaulted a 79-year-old Newcastle woman in her home. The 16-year-old, who received a caution as an 11-year-old for sexually assaulting a child, was wearing a hoodie when he tried doors to homes. His victim thought it was her son, so unlocked the chain, and the defendant barged in her home and asked if she had any money. She said she did not and she could see him playing with his private parts. He pushed her against a worktop and sexually assaulted her. The pensioner felt sore and screamed. He hit her across the head and told her to shut the fuck up before running off. Wigglesworth was sentenced to 8.5 years detention. 8. Richard Wally has been jailed for 9 years. Drugged-up knifeman Richard Wally was jailed for 9 years after terrorizing multiple homeowners, drivers and pedestrians in a 1-hour rampage across Stoke-on-Trent and Newcastle. Richard Wally, who was high on monkey dust, committed a series of terrifying robberies and attempted carjackings as events unfolded between 2:40 p.m. and 3:30 p.m. The 39-year-old's crime spree began in Ludlow Street, Hanley, as he tried to force his way inside a house when armed with a large knife. He demanded the owner's car keys, but the terrified victim managed to keep him out and he went to a neighbor's where a woman was home alone. He held the blade to her body as he demanded her car keys before stealing her phone, a watch and £60 from her purse. 9. David Palin has been jailed. Pervert David Palin was jailed after committing a string of abhorrent child sex offenses. The 74-year-old was convicted following a week-long trial over the offenses, which began in the early 1970s when the defendant was in his 20s, through to 2004. Now Twisted Palin, of Crewe, has been jailed for 12 years, having been found guilty of 17 counts of child sex offenses. There were 3 victims who were under 13 and younger at the time of the abuse. Detectives paid tribute to the women for their bravery in giving evidence and reliving the offenses. One of the victims came forward in 2002, but the investigation was closed. However, when 2 further victims came forward in 2017, the case was reopened and what Cheshire Police has described as a complex and lengthy investigation began. 10. Sheila Picarill, a woman who attacked a mum who later died, was handed a 6-year extended sentence. Sheila Picarill launched a vicious assault on Nicola Bray, who was then found dead on her settee at her Cliffvale home in August 2020. A post-mortem examination later discovered 45-year-old Nicola had suffered fractures to her right eye socket and left jawbone, as well as bleeding and bruising. Picarill, 49, of Steel Street, Hanley, pleaded guilty to a charge of grievous bodily harm with intent. Her sentence included a 4-year jail term. If you like this video, please subscribe for more court file updates of convicted criminals.